I'm David Grayson. I'm one of the editors of Cranfield on Corporate Sustainability. The attempt by 30 of our Cranfield faculty and doctoral students and associates to describe how we understand sustainability and the way it affects our particular management discipline. And I'm talking to Professor Frank Horwitz, who is the director of the Cranfield School of Management, but also the author of the opening chapter of our book. So Frank, you are both the director here of Cranfield, but also an academic concerned with human resource management and the way in which we develop people. And I wonder, how do you see these issues of sustainability now impacting on the kinds of skills that modern managers need, and therefore what should a leading global school like Cranfield be doing?
David, I think the first question that any leading business school would want to ask itself is, what are the critical needs for future leaders of organizations, of business organizations, industrial organizations, and governmental organizations? What will the future leaders look like, if you like? And I guess that formed the basis for our discussion about a book on corporate sustainability, because we believe that it is critical to identify the attributes needed and to play a role in developing those attributes for future successful leaders. The successful leader of 5, 10, 15 years' time from now might not be the same kind of leader that has been required in the past.
And how might they be different?
In several ways. I would say there's 3 key critical aspects. The first one is the future leaders will be very, very sophisticated in the areas of the so-called soft issues. Because in today's world, the soft issues are the hard issues. In today's world, the issues of dealing with complexity, with a rapidly changing environment, with the issues of fundamental things that we're grappling with as we speak, of corporate responsibility, of ethical behavior, of core moral values, are critical issues that, if you like, we would consider soft, but yet in the real world hardly soft at all. So the development of those so-called soft skills. Secondly, business schools will always be about developing business acumen, which are the traditional areas of interdisciplinarity which business managers need in order to do business successfully. The third key area, which has become so crucial in the last few years, and I think links to the very first one, is what will the future leaders look like, is that of understanding context and the changing nature of context. Whether that be sensitivity to cross-cultural issues as the world becomes increasingly globalized, and doing business in other cultures, and what kind of skills that requires, or whether context means a sensitivity to understanding the political context in which one is doing business in different parts of the world. It also means understanding the changing nature of the global economy as that shifts quite fundamentally from the traditional mature economies of the world, and economic power now arguably shifting to the so-called emerging countries, many of which are not so much emerging anymore.
And some people have talked about the idea of the business leader as the corporate statesman or stateswoman. The idea that in addition to all of those other things that you just talked about, the business leader now has to be understanding of how business plays its part as a group of businesses alongside civil society and governments and international institutions in helping to address issues like water shortages or food shortages or issues of resource depletion and so on, and how you achieve more sustainable urbanization and so on. Do you also see that some of the new skills are around how you engage with different stakeholders of an organization in a more rounded way as well?
The special contribution of the Cranfield book on corporate sustainability is this. The new world we live in requires an understanding of the interrelatedness of things. The new world that we today find ourselves leading and managing in requires managers to understand the idea that there are a multiplicity of stakeholders. Perhaps in the past, the notion that the business of business is business, purely focused on the shareholder as the single and only stakeholder. Today, it's become very, very clear that that is a very simplistic, albeit an important view at the time, but a simplistic conception of the challenges that managers in today's world have to deal with. And it is that understanding of the plurality of stakeholdership that managers, not only top managers, middle managers have to deal with, that you are dealing with employees, with issues around employee engagement, you're dealing with customers and suppliers. Are they behaving in an ethical way? For example, in the footwear industry, the arguments about investing in certain countries where working conditions are below any acceptable minima has become a more and more important issue. So the understanding of different stakeholders, and for me, the stakeholder model, I think, has become quite critical as part of the educational process for future managers and leaders in organizations. And the great contribution of Cranfield on corporate responsibility is its understanding and showcasing of the multiplicity of perspectives, the cross-disciplines, the cross-disciplinarity, if you like, of understanding sustainability from different perspectives, whether they be from the perspective of the manager that is working in supply chain management, whether it's the human resource manager that is trying to ensure that people who go on overseas expatriate assignments understand the context in which they are going to be working in and whether they are properly selected, or whether it's the marketing specialist understanding the importance of sustainability and good corporate governance in marketing. And needless to say, with the crises that have occurred in the business sector over the last 5-10 years, do future financial managers understand the importance of ethical behavior and wise judgments around the use of financial resources in organizations? We think it's a remarkable achievement that a book can be written which looks at the issue of sustainability from a cross-disciplinary perspective. And we think it's a success story where we can have and showcase the involvements across our entire School of Management of academics who actually see the importance of this no matter what discipline they come from.
And also that we have been able to take it out of a ghetto of a sustainability grouping to see that this is something that affects every different part of business and the way business is.
I think that's exactly right. One of the differentiators of Cranfield School of Management is that we aim to develop general managers. And the idea of developing general managers is just that, managers who have a generalist understanding, a holistic understanding of the organization and the context in which it works.
Frank, thank you very much indeed.